Well, that didn't take long. Let's begin. The Moronics make their way to the Red King's palace, except there is no king, but the Red Prince.
The king wasn't nearly as rude, or small, or loud.
Yang, why are you insulting the person who could possibly guide you home? More importantly, why are you insulting a mentally unstable child with an armed guard at his disposal? You cunt. We do get this, though.
Well, if it hadn't been for your kind, the king would still be here.
Keep this in mind. I'm not done with it yet.
You must be infiltrators, here to steal my crown!
I've only seen this level of autism once before.
String all that Claude cat! I will pie his lights out!
The weird soldiers from last episode gives Christine Penny's sword that Ruby presented. He then decapitates them because he doesn't like green. Shouldn't you know that Christine hates green? He later admits that he enjoys beheading people. One would think that if you served under a fucking psychotic despot, you would know these things. But it's based off Wonderland, I hear as the shields are raised to defend things that make no sense. Yes, it is based off Wonderland. To an asylum-level degree, but it is not Wonderland. You cannot use the logic of another piece of media unless they are in continuity. Granted, this isn't even all that huge of an issue, but it does illustrate just how much of a massive ripoff Wumbo World is. Anyways, Ruby offers to cheer up Christine by offering to play a game with him in a bid in order to get on his good side so she'll help them. This is a level of intelligence I didn't think Ruby was capable of anymore. Sure, it's basic common sense, but this is someone who thought dumping people in a desert was a good idea. So it's nice to see when she does something that makes sense. Christine agrees and takes them to his game room where he explains the rules. Now, pay attention because these rules will not be followed.
Rule 1!
Each player may move every pawn one space each turn.
Rule 2!
Whoever gets the most pawns to the other side of the board wins.
Rule 3!
To take over a space, you must dispose of whoever occupies it.
Ruby notices she's missing some pieces, so Christine shrinks the rest of the Moronics and puts them on the board. Because the game starts, and pay attention to the placement of the pieces. It'll be important. The first pawn moves forward one space and is beaten back. So far, so good. Then the very next move, the rules are thrown out as two of these pieces move more than one space. The one in front of Blake moves one space forward, but the one in front of Yang would have to move two spaces, possibly three given how fucking stupid the spaces themselves are shaped, and the one next to Yang would have had to have moved 3 spaces in order to attack. We're about 30 seconds into this, and already we failed to keep even the most basic continuity, so nothing out of the ordinary. Ruby orders Weiss forward, and she clearly moves 2 spaces. She would have to in order to take out this pawn. Now, I bring this up because the writers took time and money and acting and animating and sound designing the scene where the rules were given only to completely disregard them about 30 seconds into the game. Christine should point to this blatant breaking of the rules, disqualify Ruby, and either kick the Moronics out or attempt to execute them. You can't say he's too incompetent to not count, as he demonstrates the ability to earlier. He's the one who explained the rules in the first fucking place. You can't call it a nitpick because Christine becomes very upset once Ruby starts winning. From what has been established, it is well within Christine's character to freak out about Ruby breaking the rules. He's a bratty, petulant child, after all, and that is the point of his character. Continuing the game is the definition of a waste of time. Christine asks what kind of creatures the Moronics are, and she says human. He does not take it well.
Human? Human! I knew it!
So, remember how one of the guards pointed out how a human is the reason why the king is potentially dead? Apparently Christine hates humans so much because of this, he blows his fucking gasket. One would imagine that the guards would then arrest the Moronics themselves, or be ordered to do so by Christine on the spot. And even when he's told this, rather than end the game and send the guards to arrest the Moronics, he continues the game and orders all the pawns to attack the miniature Moronics in a perfectly adequate fight. Though I'm not sure why Yang would waste her bombs on a pawn she can beat up with ease. Seems incredibly wasteful. At the very least, Blake runs out of ammo. I'm sure that will be consistent. After beating the pawns, Ruby demands to be taken to the tree. I mean, I'm pretty sure one could infer that's not happening given what's transpired, but Ruby is never allowed to have a net positive in intelligent decision making. Before the Moronics can be executed, the Asylum brand Cheshire Cat arrives and manages to calm Christine down. There are only a select few who could do that. Sonichu manages to teleport the Moronics out of the castle, and the only thing of real significance that has been done is making 3 of the Moronics small and relatively useless. The rest of the episode is fine for the most part. Neo being the last one to fall seems odd considering she fell at the same time as Ruby, and her semblance upgrade is really fucking random. Honestly, I just really wanted to talk about the Nonsensical board game, but there were a few other problems with this episode that also needed addressing. However, the amount of people cooming over the chess fight is fucking embarrassing. I get the fights last season were the definition of garbage, but could we still maintain a certain level of reasonable standards? It's not terrible, mind you, but we've seen much better in this show, and it doesn't deserve anywhere near as much praise as it's getting. Anyways, that was The Game That Made No Sense, brought to you by Quick Productions. Until next time. And remember, when recycling, be sure to use plenty of orange Fanta.